Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the channel. Today's video is going to be my weekly watches as usual. Just before we start the video, I just want to say again, live stream will be going ahead tomorrow at 7:30 as usual. We so far have myself, Sam, Jodie and Andy joining us. We've still got, if anyone is watching this and is interested, that makes 2 more spaces because we can only have 6 at a time. If anyone else wanted to join us, you just let one of us know either way and we can get the link sent over to you. But yeah, that's tomorrow 7:30. And I've also got my newest haul video that'll be coming out tomorrow during the day at some point, hopefully before the live stream goes live. Another big one, I've got to merge it together because I had to stop it quite a bit this time, so I'll probably do that at some point this afternoon, get it ready for tomorrow. But yeah, nearly as, or if not just as big as the last big haul I did. But yeah, just thought I'd start with that. How many have we got this week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 this week to go through. So we'll just get started straight away with a rewatch of an absolute 70s classic, Dirty Harry. I decided to stick the 4K on last Sunday afternoon, give it a watch, and yeah, it looks absolutely stunning on 4K. Brilliant film of the early 70s, 71 this came out, and composed by the late Lalo Schifrin, who unfortunately passed away during the week. Always gave us some great scores. Yeah, but it's a Don Siegel film who collaborated with Eastwood quite a few times. Got Andy Robinson as the iconic Scorpio, iconic movie villain. Obviously Clint Eastwood as Harry, iconic as well. And yeah, just a great 70s film. I would say the 70s is probably, which is going to annoy Roy, my least favourite decade. I just don't get on with a lot of the films that came out in the 70s. I just find them quite drab, dull. Of course there are some exceptions to that, but of all of the decades that I've visited, it's the one I'm least interested in the most. I'd much rather do, I mean, I love the 50s, I love even the 60s as well. I'd say the 90s is my favourite decade. Yeah, like I said, some great films from the 70s, Dirty Harry definitely being one of them. Next up, I had a rewatch of Behind the Candelabra, which I hadn't seen for a very long time, so just wanted to watch it to see if it was any good, because I can't remember much about it. All about the life, or the later life I should say, of Las Vegas entertainer Liberace, who was a pianist, very flamboyant, was like a showman back in the 50s, 60s, 70s and early to mid 80s in Las Vegas. And it's sort of about his relationship with, is it Scott Thorson, who's kind of just like, not his manservant, kind of just has some weird sort of relationship with him. It is a bit weird, but Michael Douglas and Matt Damon are incredible in this film. If you like Hollywood, or should I say Las Vegas showman type biopic, this is a good one. Got Debbie Reynolds playing Liberace's mother in this. Rob Lowe playing a plastic surgeon. He's got really weird makeup on him in this film. Scott Bakula, who I quite like as well. Dan Aykroyd, who plays, I think he plays Liberace's manager in this. And yeah, it was a fun enough watch. Not one that I'd go back to too often, but it definitely stay in the collection, because definitely would go back to it again at some point in the future. So yeah, like I said, if you like your showman type films, interested in Liberace's story, that sort of thing, give it a watch. Behind the Candelabra. Oh, and it's a Steven Soderbergh film, which is always a good thing, in my opinion. Next up, my highlight of the week here, which I did briefly speak about on the live stream last week. It's a Todd Haynes film, and it's called Wonderstruck. This came out in 2017. As you can see, it stars Oakes Fegley, Julianne Moore, Michelle Williams, and Millicent Simmons, who you may know from both the A Quiet Place films. Basically, the story's set 50 years apart from each other. You've got one story completely shot in black and white, also like played out as a silent film set in the 20s, following this young deaf girl trying to find her mother in New York. And then you go to the 70s. Obviously, you've got popping colours, great 70s soundtrack. In this timeline, you follow Oakes Fegley's young character, who's basically in New York looking for his dad. He's recently become deaf as well, so he can't hear too good, and he's looking for his dad as well. So it leaves them on both of these like fantastical journeys around New York during these two different times. And as the story goes along, you notice their stories are kind of crossing over, and I won't go too much further into it, but it's a really good like film. Like, honestly, if you've not seen this, sounds like your sort of thing, definitely give it a watch. I say this is a Sam and Ash film for definite. Always like recommending films to specific people. I think both of you guys would really get a lot of fun, or a lot of joy, should I say, out of this, because it's just, like I said, the soundtrack's brilliant. Space Oddity, David Bowie, big part of the film as well. Julianne Moore playing two different characters as well in both time periods. Really underrated film. Didn't really know much about it before, but I'm very glad that I watched it. That is Wonderstruck. Next up, we have my pick for the watch pile for the week. So as usual, I won't be talking about it too much. Go back and watch my watch pile episode if you want to know more thoughts on this one. And it's the classic 1973, isn't it? Yeah, 1973 Bruce Lee film, Enter the Dragon, which was picked by Stuart this week. And yeah, really good film of its time. It's definitely iconic, for sure. I would though say, on hindsight, thinking about it more, I appreciated it more than I enjoyed it. I appreciate the martial arts in the film, how big it was and how influential it was for its time when it came out, and how it still is influential to a lot of people. But the story, if you're looking at it from a story perspective, it's quite a basic cookie cutter story. There's nothing too special about the story itself. If you're watching this, you're generally watching it for Bruce Lee and for his martial arts in it, which, as I said, are very impressive, very well done. But the story itself, it's a cookie cutter 70s type story. Like I said, the 70s just isn't my decade from what I've seen of it. There are some standouts, and don't get me wrong, I did enjoy this, and like I said, I appreciate it a lot for what it is and what it did at its time. And yeah, will be one that will be revisiting again. Be interesting to see what the 4K on this one's like, actually, if I can grab that cheap at some point. But yeah, that is Enter the Dragon. Next up, I think this was Ash's pick, and I did intend on also watching and talking about this in my watch pile episode, but I was so tired I never got around to finishing this. So as promised, I've got it here. And I will also say to Roy, because I did say to Roy I'd watch The Right Stuff. I was super busy yesterday. I had intended on watching it, but I just didn't get around to it in the end. So I'll try and watch that next weekend, because I know it's a rather long film. I'll just have to try and remember to watch it at some point next weekend. But anyway, the film that I'm talking about next is Robot and Frank. Great cast in this. You've got Frank Langella, James Marsden, Liv Tyler, and Susan Sarandon. It's set in the near future, and it follows Frank, played by Frank Langella, who's a retired cat burglar. He's got two grown children, played by James Marsden and Liv Tyler, who are a bit worried about him. They worried that he's losing his marbles a bit. He can't really live on his own anymore, especially his son, who basically drives miles and miles, hours, every week, once a week, just to check in and see if he's okay. His daughter kind of travels, so she checks on him like on video calls. And one day his son decides to get him like a helper robot, to basically help him still be able to live at home. And to start with, Frank's completely against having this robot at home. He thinks it's stupid. He can look after himself. He doesn't need a robot to help him live, basically. But then one day he kind of starts to accept the robot and thinks he could use this robot to his advantage, and starts to slip into his old life. And I'll leave it there. It's a really heartwarming film. Got some really funny comedic moments in this. You got Jeremy Strong in this, who plays an absolute sleazeball in this film, who's basically a local, I suppose he's an entrepreneur, who's taken over the local library, which Frank frequents quite often, mainly to visit Susan Sarandon's character, who he quite likes. And yeah, they're getting rid of all the books, basically, and making it all digital. You can still go to the library, but it's all digital. And like I said, Jeremy Strong's character is a bit of a sleazeball. He doesn't like Frank. He thinks Frank's a wrong 'un, and is just trying to get him into trouble whenever he can. You've got Jeremy Sisto, who I quite like as well, who plays the local sheriff, who's kind of investigating these local burglaries that have gone on. Peter Sarsgaard voices the robot. Always enjoy Peter Sarsgaard, although he's not obviously in person in this. And it's directed by Jake Schreier, who I believe was the creator of Beef on Netflix, and also recently directed Thunderbolts, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, this is a really nice little indie comedy drama, and yeah, one that I highly recommend if it sounds up your street. That is Robot and Frank. Next up, I did a watch along with Sam of Kes, which is a Ken Loach film. It might be Ken Loach's first film. I'm not sure. Sam will know. Correct me in the comments below if that's wrong. Based on a book called A Kestrel for a Knave. Bit of backstory around me watching this. We put this on about 20 past 8. Now me, if I put a film on any time really after 8 o'clock on a weekday, it's almost guaranteed I'm going to fall asleep during the film. Unfortunately, that did happen during watching this. I felt so bad because I know this is Sam's favourite film, and I really wanted to try and put it in, watch it, and really enjoy it. But it wasn't just that, unfortunately, and I didn't fall asleep because of the film. It was probably just because I was very tired, long day at work. I couldn't understand their accents. I couldn't understand a lot of the language in this, what they were saying, because all of the characters have quite thick, strong Yorkshire accents, and even Sam said he does struggle being a Yorkshireman to understand some of the lines that they are saying. And I have to admit, it took me out of the film a bit. Like I said, I was in and out. The start, I'd say the first 20 minutes, I was fully at my attention, and then unfortunately the rest of the film I was in and out. And I'm one of those, I didn't enjoy the ending. I thought the ending was just too bleak for this kind of film. But I've said to Sam, I'm going to give it another watch again in the future and make sure I give it my full attention, not put it on like stupid late and end up falling asleep again. But yeah, that's Kes, which I'll give it a watch. Yeah, so yeah, Kes. Then next up, these last few days, like Friday evening, Saturday evening as well, because I've got so much to get through, and there's so many people recommending so many different things, I just decided, you know what, I just asked in the group, pick a number, 1 to 3, whatever number it is, I'll go to the pile that corresponds to that number, won't look, pull a random one out, get it out the case without looking, put it in, like cover that until I know the play screen's on, play it, and just completely have a blind watch or something, have no idea what it is until the film actually starts. And we've had some quite good results, so I think I'm going to carry on doing that when I'm obviously not doing watch pile episodes or at the cinema. I think I'm going to carry on doing it this way. The first one that I randomly picked up, really enjoyed as well, an Adrian Lyne film. This was one that Tim gave to me on our last meetup, and it's Jacob's Ladder, starring Tim Robbins, Elizabeth Pena, Danny Aiello, who you may know from Moonstruck, and yet really good psychological thriller, horror elements to it, I suppose, about basically he's a Vietnam War vet who's got a bit of PTSD. he keeps seeing weird things happening in his everyday life. Keeps getting visions of these like creatures, these weird faces. Keeps seeing his dead son, played by Macaulay Culkin. Yeah, lots of weird stuff's happening to him, and he thinks there's more going on than he thinks. He's like in and out of different like things. He doesn't know what's real and what's a dream, and he's got to try and find out what's happened to him. And I'll leave it at that, because it's one of those best to go in blind, because I did. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Really good film. I couldn't have guessed where it was going, and I think it had a brilliant ending. Just, yeah, solid film this is, from 1990. I'm definitely not going to bother with the remake, that's for sure. But that is the brilliant Jacob's Ladder. And then next up, another one that was just randomly picked off the shelf. William Hurt, Kathleen Turner, and Geena Davis in The Accidental Tourist from 1988. Won Geena Davis her Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. Was also put up for Best Picture at the Oscars. Didn't win though. But really good film this is. Directed by Lawrence Kasdan, who also did The Big Chill. He did Body Heat, Mumford, I think it's another one. Grand Canyon. Lots of like good 80s and 90s films. Did he do Wyatt Earp as well? Was that Lawrence Kasdan? I think it was. But yeah, this basically follows a man who his pen name is The Accidental Tourist. He writes tourist books. Everyone knows him as The Accidental Tourist because he writes tourist books for like businessmen, that sort of thing. That's what he's known for. But his marriage falls apart because their only son tragically passed away a few years before, so their marriage is a bit on the rocks, him and Kathleen Turner. They decide amicably to separate. Whilst they're separated, he's kind of trying to cope with living alone, getting used to a different sort of life. And he comes across Geena Davis's character, who kind of makes him look at life in a different way. And yeah, it kind of opens him up to what his future could be like. I should just leave it at that, I think. But yeah, really good film, really heartwarming film. Really liked this film a lot. Bill Pullman's in this as well. He's got a really good part in it. Plays his publisher, I think it is, of his books. You have got music by John Williams. Beautiful score in this by John Williams, if I do say so myself. And yeah, really thoroughly enjoyed this one. If you like those sorts of films, again, I'd say Sam Ash. I think I've recommended this to Stuart as well. Do yourself a favour, give this a watch. Thoroughly enjoyed this one, The Accidental Tourist. 2 to go. Next one up, another one random. This was one of the ones that I actually picked up yesterday, so first time seeing it in the video. And it is Goldie Hawn in Private Benjamin from 1980. Basically, it follows Judy Benjamin. She's just got married to Albert Brooks's character, but he suddenly dies on their wedding night when they're making love. And she doesn't know what to do with herself. This is her second marriage. She just doesn't know what's going on in life. So she on the moment, whatever, spontaneously, why did I say sporadically, signs up for the army. She thinks it's going to be lovely. She's going to get a house. She's going to get fed for. It's going to be a perfect job. She loves it. So she signs up to the army, recruited by Harry Dean Stanton's character, who's a recruiter. Only got a small role in this. And when she gets there, she gets the shock of her life, because as you can imagine, it's quite hardcore, this boot camp that she's thrown into. She doesn't get on with it because she's all like well dressed, well manicured, and she's just thrown into it, and she's got to try and cope with being in the army, and she kind of just flips herself around and does a 180. It's very funny though. Produced and written by Nancy Meyers as well. Got Eileen Brennan, who plays like her drill sergeant. She's really good in this. Sam Wanamaker, who plays her dad in this. He's only got a small role, but he's good. Like I said, Albert Brooks plays her husband right at the start. Got music by Bill Conti as well. Really good early 80s comedy. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Love to see this one get a Blu-ray release. But yeah, that is Private Benjamin. And then the last of the week was a bit of a disappointment. Another one I picked up yesterday. Another blind one I just chucked on. It's a director who I really like. Although this and probably one of his most acclaimed films I didn't get on with. They're very similar as well. The film in question is PTA's The Master. Joaquin Phoenix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Amy Adams, Laura Dern. Yeah, this very similar to There Will Be Blood. I appreciate it for what it is, but it's very convoluted. The plot is quite technical, like There Will Be Blood. It's not for just an easy watch. It's one you've really got to concentrate on, and it's really rather weird as well. I could only explain a bit of it. Basically, Joaquin Phoenix was in the Navy in the war. He's just got back from the Navy. He's trying to readjust to everyday life. He's really struggling. He can't adjust. He's just really angry, a bit off the walls. And one day he ends up on this boat, and the owner of the boat is someone called Lancaster Dodd, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who has this like group called the Calls, which is basically a cult. It's basically sort of like Scientology, that sort of thing, back in the 40s, 50s. And his wife is played by Amy Adams in this, and it's about him basically being brought into this group, the Calls. And yeah, it's just a bit weird. There's just lots of stuff going on in this film. Performances are brilliant, I'll say that, especially Philip Seymour Hoffman. Very reminiscent of Daniel Day-Lewis's performance in There Will Be Blood, to be honest with you. Yeah, it was just a bit too unusual for its own good. Saying that, I'm not getting rid of it like There Will Be Blood. I am going to give it another watch again in the future, but really focus on it next time, I think, because you step out for a minute and you'll completely lose where you are with this film. It's one you have to watch every minute, otherwise you'll be like, what the hell just happened? Which was a bit like me. I was in and out because I just couldn't get into it after a certain point of time and what was going on in the film. But yeah, anyway, that is The Master, which was my final watch of the week. I'm off to the cinema again this afternoon. So what we got in? Still got just over an hour until I leave. So yep, and then yeah, like I said, the live stream will be tomorrow. I'll probably get hopefully a few watched this afternoon, maybe 2 watched this evening, and then obviously the film at the cinema. So I'll have a few to talk about on the live stream tomorrow. I'll probably also talk about the films I've been watching at the cinema the last sort of week, because I'll have seen 3 by then to talk about. And yeah, that's it. So let me know if you've watched any of these down below in the comments and what your thoughts are on them. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded to the channel. Comment down below anything and everything. As you know, I always take the time to get back to anyone that leaves me a comment, because I really do appreciate it. And that's it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.